Welcome back to another solo episode of B2B Growth. I'm doing these once a week just to give you a little bit of insight into how I'm thinking, how I'm growing, and hopefully it's helpful for you. So I wrote a post yesterday on LinkedIn about why my marketing automation emails, essentially why they don't suck, and why so many other marketing emails aren't engaging. And why they don't get the desired result. And so I've had several people, because of a webinar that I did earlier this week, I've had several people tell me that how much they love my welcome email in my marketing automation sequence. And it just made me think about kind of why I get so many comments like that. People don't typically say, "Hey, I love your marketing emails." But they do tell that to me. And so I started thinking about kind of how I think about email marketing differently. And I've got a few points that I want to share. So the first thing that I'll say about how I approach email marketing is where most marketers write their email copy as if they're writing to lots and lots of people, the thousands of people that the email is probably going to. Instead, I've decided to focus my emails and write them as though I'm writing to one person. And when you're writing to one person, the entire tone of the email changes. But you are writing to one person. Now, you're writing to one person at scale. It's obviously going to a lot of people, but if you change your verbiage, if you change your mindset to thinking, I want one person to take action on this email. So how do I need to craft copy that gets that person to take that action? And so, for example, the email that I sent shortly after the webinar, I wanted people to do two things. I wanted them to connect with me on LinkedIn, which makes sense because the webinar was about creating viral LinkedIn content. And so I knew that they would be interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn. And I also wanted them to check out a course that some folks that I'm not affiliated with the course at all. It's a totally free course. But it's, it helps people get off the sidelines with their LinkedIn content and start actually creating good stuff. It's a 30-day course, totally free, 30dayssocial.com. You can get signed up for it. And so those were the two things I wanted people to do. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and if they were wanting to, get more active in their LinkedIn content creation, to sign up for that course. I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I wasn't, it was pretty soft calls to action. But I wrote the email in such a way like I was talking to a friend across the table. And because of that, people actually took action. And I talked to the guys that run that course, the 30-day social course, and they said they got, quite a few signups based on that email. So it worked. So I think changing the way you think about email writing in your marketing automation system to writing to one person instead of writing like you're writing thousands of people. I don't know if it's a pride thing and you want to think like, oh, we have thousands of people listening or, that are getting this email. And I don't know exactly why people think that saying things like all of you instead of just you is more effective, but it's not. And so just start writing emails like you're writing to one person. The other thing that I think helps me is I let my personality come out in my emails. And so in my welcome email sequence or my email sequence, the welcome email to that nurture sequence, I talk about my addiction to Swedish fish, how I wear, how one of my, my life's mission statement is to wear socks as little as possible. I talk about, me wearing flip-flops all the time. I talk about how I'm addicted to Cherry Coke Zero. And then, I also, tell people what I'm all about. We share content about B2B marketing, not because we're Mother Teresa, but because B2B marketers are the ones that buy our thing. And so the more helpful content we can create, the more opportunity we have to do business with people that we help. And so, I explain all that in the welcome email, and then that resonates with people because I'm a human. I'm not a faceless brand. And I think I think there's just something to be said about letting your personality come through in the way you write copy, and it being more casual and human. I think people resonate with that more. I think you'll get a much better response rate on your content, and so I'm just a big advocate for that. So writing like you're writing to one person, and then letting your personality come through in the emails that you're creating, I think is enormously beneficial. The third thing that I do differently with emails that I don't see a lot of marketers doing is that I strip all of the formatting from emails. So I do text only emails. I don't do fancy frames, and I don't load the thing full with images. And I think when you get fancy with your formatting, people know that it's a mass email. And when people know that it's going to a gajillion people, they're probably not going to want to consume it because it's not personal to them. Now, do people know that my nurture emails are nurture emails? Of course they do, because they're going to scroll down, they're going to see the unsubscribe link. But it's not a dead giveaway. You could show I actually have some people on my list that I'm fairly certain they think I'm just sending them one-off emails. They don't actually think that they are mass emails, which is kind of funny, but also just speaks to the approach and making it feel like you're talking to one person instead of a lot of people. But strip that formatting. Don't put images in there. Don't feel like you need to get fancy. And then the fourth thing that I do, I don't stuff it with a gajillion call to actions. If I want people to do something, I try to center the entire email around them doing that one thing. In the example I gave earlier, I wanted them to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I wanted them to sign up for that course. My primary objective was getting them to connect with me on LinkedIn. But as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I want to actually provide tangible value with this email. And I think that the course that I'm sending them to, since it's totally free, I think it would be enormously valuable for them. I ended up getting, I think I got like hundreds of connection requests from that email, but also got a ton of people to sign up for the course. So in that particular case, I decided to do 2 calls to action instead of 1. Most of my emails, though, I only have a singular call to action. If there's a minor thing that I want people to do, I sometimes put it as a PS on the email, or I'll put it as a part of my email signature. But for the most part, I center the entire email around what I want them to do. So whether that's go engage with something that I wrote on LinkedIn, or I want them to check out a blog post that we wrote, or a certain episode that we recorded, I don't send people 27 different things to do, because I know it's hard enough to get them to do one thing. So those are the 4 things that I do to get really good engagement with the emails that I send. I get really good open rates and really good engagement compared to a lot of marketers. The numbers that I'm hearing, I tend to get really good opens and really good engagement. People replying to my email saying, hey, I'm not really into B2B marketing, so I'm going to unsubscribe, but this email was awesome. So when the people unsubscribing are still telling you that your emails are great, I feel like I'm onto something, and wanted to share that with you guys on this fine Saturday. So those 4 things, hopefully they help you write better email copy in your marketing automation. And as always, connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to chat with you there. Or you can shoot me an email if you have any questions at all. James@sweetfishmedia.com. Want to be as much of a resource as I possibly can. Thank you so much for listening.